You know, if it wasn't for cotton, Texas history probably would have played out a lot differently. You know, Texas cotton attracted Southerners, and have been the dominant population in Texas ever since. You know, it's the catalyst also for the African American population in Texas as well, first as slaves and then as free labor. It was the pathway to prosperity for more than a century of Texas history. Well, where did this industry start? Why did anybody even care about cotton, and how did they connect it to Texas? Actually, the first bales of cotton were produced by the Spanish missions, and they started producing it and reporting it as early as 1745. Well, the Spanish knew that Texas would be good cotton country, and everybody started taking notice. By 1860, Southerners had moved to Texas and were producing annually about 431,000 bales, and a bale, of course, being about 500 pounds of cotton compressed. By 1880, this number had jumped up to 805,000 bales. 1890, 1.5 million bales of cotton. In 1900, 3.5 million bales of cotton. Cotton is more king in Texas after the Civil War than it ever thought about being before the Civil War. Well, the reason being is that Texas is populated by Southerners again after the Civil War. And this immigration from the Old South, starting in the 1870s, spurs the growth of the cotton industry. By 1884, the ginning process had moved from individual gins to more centralized and then even co-op gins during the 1880s and 1890s. The growth of the railroads allowed for access. Railroads went into the cotton country, and that way farmers could get their crops to market. As a result, cotton begins to migrate with the railroads, moving from the east and moving into the inland region of the state of Texas. The sharecropping system that emerges in the 19th century also provides a steady labor supply for the expansion of the cotton industry. The boll weevil stops a little bit of this expansion, but what ends up happening is people leapfrog over the boll weevil infestations and they start moving out west. And in fact, up until the 1920s, the cotton industry begins to move from the east into central Texas, and then from central Texas into the high plains and in the rolling plains by the 1930s.